can't hear anything. I'm gonna go back a screen. We'll be back. I can't hear anything.
Hello?
Yeah.
We're
All
back.
right, well, Source decided to quit right as we started.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna restart it real fast. See what happens.
That's the memory loci got way too messed up,
Yeah.
and it desynced, and yeah,
Well, anyways,
got
welcome
crushed.
welcome to episode 141 of the Anime on Draft Technical Difficulties show.
Yeah. And how to solve it. And how to solve the problems.
How to solve it? You spend money on actual stuff that works.
That just works,
Yeah. Well, anyways, I'm your host this week, Rolando, joined by Drew and Alec.
Hello.
Yep.
You're not gonna do it?
I don't remember
He
it.
doesn't
Something
even
about
remember what he
doesn't
did.
even remember what he
was
said.
it? It was rainbows and dreamers and me. There. That's the best I got.
Beautiful.
Beauteous. I'm gonna turn my
Beautiful.
Well, anyways, this week we're missing Mark, obviously. He's avoiding the coronavirus in the land of Corona currently. He took a cruise ship to Mexico, but
Mexico.
he says he's doing fine. So
We
hopefully,
wished him the best.
hopefully he has fun on his little trip with his family and has a few beers. Maybe we'll find some nice Mexican craft brew or something.
I think, judging by his pic, didn't he already have one beer? He had a
Oh, he had a Chimay,
Chimay.
but that's a Belgian beer.
yeah, but it's a good beer.
Yeah, it is. Well,
Criteria met.
criteria met. So this week we have 3 beers. Drew, you have the McKellar Beer Geek. Is that what it's called?
Beer Geek Vanilla Shake. I don't know. They have like a Beer Geek series. This is like the vanilla shake version of it, but it is an imperial stout with coffee and vanilla.
Banira, vanilla salt.
Yeah.
All right. You want to show us the
Yeah.
beer? You just grab the can and. Yeah, there we go.
Oh.
The dude petting a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's petting a cat.
Petting a cat.
Classic McKellar art style. But
What a beer
yeah.
geek.
It's 11%, and it's also Tuesday, so I don't think I'm gonna drink the whole thing. But I've had it for like 3 or 4 months, and I probably should drink it. And it's like kind of flat, but
It's okay. It's
Yeah. give you my impressions in a little bit.
Cool. Alec, what do you have? You have the
I have the
the Bourbon
Goose Island
County.
Bourbon County, but the 2017. So
We're
I'm
going
on the-
back in years.
I'm on the last one. Because the
Did they
2018
Reversing time.
progress as the years aged?
like in deliciousness.
Yeah.
For this one so far, the smell is my favorite. We had the 2018 when you were out here, and it was. Wait, we did, right? Or was
No,
that-
we had a different beer.
Oh, yeah, that's
we
right.
had that funky
weird
beer that smelled like
Parmesan-
cheese.
Parmesan dog treats.
Yeah, dog
beer.
food and
Yeah.
Parmesan cheese. That's what it
And
smelled
soy
like.
sauce. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the 2018, that one I had on stream then too. This one, I don't know. I like the smell better so far. The taste was pretty good too, but I'll give my opinions. Anyways, here's the beer. This one is it's brewed in 11-year-old Knob Creek bourbon barrels. The small batch bourbon.
Nice. And I have a seasonal brew from New Belgium. So if you're not familiar with New Belgium, if you know Fat Tire, then you know New Belgium. But this one is the Nitro Cold Brew Cream Ale, part of their Up Next series, and it is crafted with high brew coffee cold brew. They come in little 6-packs cans, and they are only 5%. So supposedly, it's a sessionable beer
Drew, you have
at the high end. Yeah, your stuff is shaking.
Oh yeah, like it was like. It's like, are you okay? Do you need to duck and cover?
I'm dying.
But yeah,
How much was
this
the
one's also a
6-pack?
coffee. $10.
How much did you get? A 4-pack or a 6-pack, Drew?
I bought a single and it was $9.99.
Oof,
Oh, okay.
it's a pricey single.
McKellar beer is kind of expensive, especially like this like heavier stouts. You can go to like their tasting room and they have like a fridge section, and you'll get a 4-pack of like dip a hazy IPA or like New England style, and it'll be $20. So their stuff is kind of expensive, but I don't know. I like to pay for the quality because generally their beers are very good. So
Yeah.
to me, it's worth it.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 3-pack I got in the cool little box was $50. So 3 beers, $50. It's tasted good so far, so I'm happy with the choice, and I got a cool box.
Yep. But now
True.
you don't have any beers left.
I don't, and I kind of want to get another and then let them sit like 2 years.
Even longer.
And then-
10 years?
Yeah, 10 years.
In 10 years?
Yeah, in 2027, I'll drink the 2017. They're like, I don't know, that's a good idea, buddy.
They're like,
Don't do
you
that."
definitely outlived the shelf life
Yeah.
of this beer.
I was thinking maybe another year, like, or 2 for the 2017 would probably be fine.
Or you could find a bottle of 2015 or 2016.
Yeah, and just drink that.
Yeah. Well, anyways, moving on from the beer, let's go into our pairing. So, this week, we have Nisei Monogatari, episode 6. This one is the...
Seven.
episode 7, sorry. This one is the penultimate episode, right?
Yeah.
Of the Karen B series. Oh, no, is penultimate second to last, isn't it? So this is the climax episode.
The finale.
Finale, yeah. So this is the finale of the Karen B arc, and we get the, confrontation between Kaiki and Araragi and Senjugahara, but also a confrontation between Araragi and Karen. So, Drew, do you want to go? I'm sure you have a bunch of notes. Do you want to kind of lead the questions for this?
Yeah, I do have a bunch of notes. There's kind of a lot that goes on in this episode. A lot of like very important like character driving or character forming plot points and things like that. So I guess we can kind of break it up into 2 sections: the Karen Araragi confrontation, and then like the Senjugahara Araragi Kaiki threesome, or whatever you want to call it. So I'll just get into my notes, and then to kind of refresh my memory here a little bit, and then we can jump into like some topics or whatever. But the I kind of wrote this as kind of funny. It's like the good guy always wins, so whoever wins is right. It's interesting that Araragi says that because like he's basically the whole confrontation between him and Karen is like a huge contradiction. It's like he's saying don't do all this shit, but he does the exact shit that he tells them not to do. And he doesn't like really give like a good explanation as to why. And part of the reason he doesn't want to tell his family, hey, I'm like half vampire, I had all this shit go on with me. But the other half is just like he can't or doesn't want to admit he's wrong. Part of the process of like growing up is like being able to admit like you've made a mistake, and he like can't do that because he's seen as like the older sibling. I'm in charge of you, essentially. You're wrong, I'm right. So you kind of have like that going on with them. He also basically like straight up like calls them out on like their nicknames. Like, you are not justice, you're not allies of justice, you're just kids playing a game. It all goes back to the idea of everybody essentially in this arc is a fake. The sisters are fake, Araragi's a fake. Kaiki's a fake. You got kind of all that going on. And then Karen kind of comes back and rebuttal is like, well, what's wrong with being fake if we just want to help people out? Like their whole thing is like help out their classmates, make sure that, you know, this guy basically isn't running rampant of their town, destroying people with these different rumors and things. So I don't know. It's like kind of the back and forth between the two. I don't know. How do you guys feel about like? Do you think like he's justified in basically talking down to Karen and saying like, basically, hey, like what you're doing is stupid. Let me kind of handle it. How do you feel like the confrontation is between the two? Is one party right or wrong?
I mean, when I was watching it, I felt like, in the sense that he's kind of protecting her, as an older person who can see it from a different perspective, even though he's doing the same shit. It's like, yeah, kind of talking down to her and saying those things kind of is like a wake up call, I guess. Is how I kind of saw it. Like he's trying to give her a wake up call, but at the same time, he needs his own wake up call. He's just kind of acting like a parent who, when the kid goes, "Why?" It's like, because I said so, and that's just how I kind of viewed that, and rather than giving a reason and having to actually come up with a logical reason for the actions you're about to take. You just like, just because I said so, just listen to what I say, don't do what I do. But it's also, I guess, not good because he's not really teaching her why what she's doing is stupid. But I guess, yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
What I kind of saw was, I'm gonna double check. I think I wrote it down. Sorry.
No worries. While you're kind of looking at that, kind of why I brought that up is I mentioned it. You know, Aradagi says like I'm a fake, and he's also like, there's nothing wrong with being a fake as long as you can kind of like live with yourself for being like this fake person. So that's, I guess, kind of how he justifies it. He's like, you know, as long as you're okay with that, as long as you're okay, like running around, you know, getting in trouble, being an idiot, like if you can live with yourself with that, I guess it's fine, because that's how he has to justify it, because he's doing, you know, a lot of the same shit. It's not necessarily smart, but it's where he is.
So, I'm pretty sure this was said in the episode, but they do say it in the translation, but he says basically what the sisters are doing are like, they're not like fighting against bad guys and evil people because they want to fight against evil. They're fighting against it because it's something that satisfies their own desire to of justice. So I'm pretty sure he uses the word jiko manzoku, which is like the word for in Japanese for self-satisfaction. So it's like in that sense, you're taking on this weight of justice. Like they're saying, like, we're like we are the allies of justice, but in a real sense, they're only doing it to satisfy their own desire to be like this, I guess, epitome of justice, like to satisfy their own desire, to get their own self-satisfaction out of it, rather than helping these people because it's the right thing to do. And I think that's kind of the separation he's putting into it. And so like when Karen says that, oh, you do the same thing, he says, yeah, I do, but I know the difference is like, so like understanding the difference is different than what they're doing, and they're just being fakes because they aren't actually allies of justice. They're just fulfilling their own desires through their whole justice play.
And they're not selfless. They want, like, they get a feeling of accomplishment.
Yeah, and the accomplishment.
They like being recognized for, and it kind of doesn't help that their peers kind of feed their ego, including like Araragi. He's like, he calls them, you know, the Fire Sisters. You know, they're built up as like this like almost like a superhero status, like within their middle school and stuff. And because of that, their ego gets fed, and they think then like, yeah, let's go fight this evil guy who's causing us all these pain, not to help other people, which is like what it is at the surface, but deep down they're like, I feel good when I do this. It's cool to be, elevated to this level. So for sure. And that's kind of the difference too, because even though Araragi is doing the same thing as them, he is doing it more in a selfless way. There are still some things that we don't know about in terms of like maybe why he helps people out and why he does these things, but overall, there is kind of that big difference. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Anything else about the fight with Karen? It's a cool scene overall. It reminds me a lot of kind of like Kill Bill-esque, almost like spaghetti western in a way. They had like the strings, the guitar going, this big like over the top fight scene. I just think it was well done and cool.
I wasn't expecting it. I don't think we've had like a big old
an actual
scene
action
like that.
scene.
Yeah, so I was like, whoa, where did this
Like,
come from?
This out of nowhere.
This is kind of cool though.
Yeah, not in Nisei yet until this. But if you've seen some of the other stuff, then there've definitely been like super grotesque and action-packed fight scenes, maybe like twice. Because what was that guy's name, Alec? The one on was it the Anime Amino app or whatever? The guy that hated Monogatari.
Oh, I don't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just
like
ragged on it like
we
mad.
just found this dude that was ragging on Monogatari one time, and the way he put it was, wow, there was like one fight scene and then they talked for the whole series.
And that's why he thought it was bad.
So I just thought it was trash.
And then I think the same guy was saying that the guy, SAO main guy was like the best character who's ever been a character. He's like, he's the best character ever created. Everyone's like, why? He's so one-dimensional and just
nice a
broken.
harem protagonist.
And he's like, that's why he's the best, because he's strong. And I was like, what are you talking about? That was a lot. I remember reading that whole stream.
All of his blog posts. That was
a lot.
That was some lit stuff.
So moving into like kind of the second half of the episode, so we kind of get like the big bomb drop here, and this was like something that I wanted to mention as we've been talking about it throughout the weeks, is Kaiki and Senjugahara's like actual romantic sort of relationship, and it kind of gets dropped like right at the end where Kaiki basically nonchalantly says like, well, you loved me, and that's why, and Araragi's like, what?
Hold up, bro.
So you kind of get that, and it's like kind of out of nowhere, but it sort of explains kind of why Senjugahara wanted to keep Araragi away. She's kind of embarrassed about her past, and not only is she embarrassed, she wants to like cut all ties with it. The idea of like cutting your hair, getting rid of the past, kind of like what we talked about in the last episode. The thing is she totally over him, and is he totally over her? Those are the kind of things that you want to kind of be paying attention to as like the series kind of progresses, because there's a lot of things that kind of go on in this episode that you kind of have to infer to kind of note that Senjugahara may not necessarily be over him, and then vice versa, Kaiki might not be over her, which is kind of strange as you think about their relationship. They met a long time ago. He kind of fucked up her whole family, but you can kind of see and you can kind of piece things together. So like one of the first things that they say is like, I'll leave town, I'll pay you back your family for all the money I scammed you, I'll stop scamming all these kids, and I'll make everything right. Why is he going to these lengths to kind of do that? And so that's kind of the thing that at least I'm thinking about. It's like, is he really over it? The other like big thing that he mentions, like really nonchalantly, but it's like kind of a huge deal. He's like, oh, by the way, that guy who like tried to rape you, he's dead, and it had nothing to do with you. So like, just forget about your past. And you're like, why are you even bringing that up right now? Like, is it something that she's thinking about? Is it something that he had an influence to? Like, why would he know that? And then kind of related to that, Senju Gohara kind of tries to call him on his bluff. He said, "Hey, like you said you didn't even remember me till the other day, but now you're like bringing up all these things again." And he's like, "Well, I'm a liar, so you shouldn't listen to what I say." So really, really kind of like a lot to digest between the back and forth there, and then overall, Senju Gohara kind of basically saying and kind of shutting the door on it is, anyone who saves me, I become their princess. I fall in love with them. It just so happened to be that, Araragi, you saved me, and I'm glad that that happened. But it could have really been anybody, which is kind of a shallow thing for her character. And like, I don't know, it's the one part of Senju Gohara's character that I don't really like is her idea of like having like the princess syndrome. Um, it kind of cheapens her character, at least a little bit for me. But I don't know.
I don't know about that, because the way I read into it and saw it was in her past. So Kaiki was her. She even says he was her first, as in the first person that she had gained an interest in, mostly probably of the opposite sex outside of her family, not her father. And so because he was the first con man of, what was it, five, or were there other five others, whatever, to con her out of money for her situation, but he was still the first to go and help her, quote unquote.
Right.
And so her kind of mentioning that, like, she says, honestly, anybody coming in and becoming like that white prince on a horse, or the prince on the white horse, sorry, would have been, to her, would have been, like this figure that she would have fallen in love with. But she then states that because that was her like mental state of the time, and like she was still like immature and like a middle schooler. So it's like it's this idea, like you mentioned, with like the whole growing up thing. So it's like you have your childish love, it's like your first love, it's your puppy love, right? So Kaiki is more of like that first interest, that first crush, that puppy love that she had. And then had he been the one that actually saved her, I'm not gonna make any other statement from there, she would have fallen in love with whoever had done it. So she says, like, Araragi, I'm glad that you were the one that had saved me, because like she really does, like, she does show like a lot in this series how much she does love Araragi, and it does goes to show in a later arc how much she does love him. But I think the whole fact behind this happening and what her saying all of this means is more of like, hey, this was my childish like desire before. I wanted a prince to come in and save me, and you just happened to be the one. And there may have been someone before I was interested in, but like that, like, you are the one that I'm in love with.
It doesn't go to explain though Kaiki's infatuation with her, which is
okay, but that's a separate thing.
Right.
This is I'm just talking about Senju Gohara's side.
A lot of information. I think I don't really have a lot. I don't have the same, I guess, background and knowledge base about all these characters to draw upon as you two. I didn't feel like it cheapened her character. To me, given kind of what they were presenting, it felt like a reasonable sort of thing, because she's had, she had the issue where someone tried to rape her whole family's gone. She got conned, and then one of them tried to help her. Like, as a kid, I don't know, it would seem reasonable for a child to like reach out and want like a prince figure to save them, I guess. I don't know, like, so much about her to see her like not wanting to be like a princess or whatever. She's just very aggressive, and I feel like that's a cover for her deep down feelings of kind of, I don't know, insecurity and like squishiness. Like inside she's squishy because outside she's hard.
Her
Yeah,
squishiness.
I don't know how to think of a better term. Like she's a crab. She's got a shell and it's all the pokey knives and rulers, and then inside she's squishy. That's what I'm trying to say. But I
So
don't
you're
know.
saying her delicate inner self.
Inner self.
She's got this hard shell and claws to ward away.
To ward
these-
away these people, but once they like, if they ignore all that and still try to save her, then her delicate inside is like, wow, they got past all that, even if they're not good people. I also thought, I was like, man, seems like a big red flag. When she was saying that to Haragi, I was like, man, dude, that doesn't sound too promising. If like you're standing in that situation, I would have fallen in love with anyone, but I'm glad it was you. It's like, that's nice and all, but I don't know if that's really what I want to hear. Like,
He kind of refutes it a little bit too. He's like, one can say that you saved yourself, which is, you know, kind of what Oshino kind of preached. You know, it's like you can only save yourself sort of idea.
I think that is an important statement that he mentions, though, because I think it lends to his own thoughts on her saying that. It's kind of like, well, technically you really saved yourself, but then how does that how does that explain why she fell in love with him? It's because she fell in love with him of her own self-desire as well.
Is there something else there, though? And this is something that I'll ask you guys to consider. Part of vampire lore, and we're getting like real deep into oddities and such here. Part of vampire lore is like charisma and like ability to like seduction or be able to seduce. How much of that goes into play not only with his relationship with Senjogohara, but with all the other girls? So that's something that I will throw out there.
bleh. I don't know. Because they said his powers are like not as strong as they used to be.
Mhm.
I don't know when exactly they're referring to. I don't think it's the first season, because he seems relatively the same as he did then. He just heals. So I don't know. But maybe. I guess that's plausible, because I've heard that as well, where it's like vampires, you know, they can lure people in, because it's like, what, they can't go into a house unless they're invited in, so they have to be charismatic to get themselves into a position where they can feed on people or turn people.
Well, they also have to do it to hypnotize people to let them suck their blood.
Right.
Yep.
So I don't know.
There's a lot to digest. There's a lot going on.
I haven't watched
kind of
enough.
thing.
I have no opinions.
It's good kind of what you brought up, because it's like I always remember thinking similar things like the first time that I watched it. So it's like you kind of get that unique perspective of like, I don't really know what's going on, but this is interesting. Let me like keep thinking about it. The last thing that I wanted to bring up, just for your consideration in the future, is like what Kaiki says about his knowledge of like oddities or the supernatural. He says something along the lines of, I know those who know, or I know those who think they know a lot about, you know, the supernatural. So something to kind of keep in mind there as we start getting introduced to new characters, which one we will get introduced to, believe not, maybe next, probably not next week, but the week after, because we get the toothbrush next week. But as more characters start getting introduced, be thinking about kind of Kaigi's relationship with others as well.
I actually had one thing going back to the Fire Sisters. They kind of their motives kind of remind me of Hellflame in My Hero, where his motives originally were just like, I want to be the number one hero. I want people to recognize me. And then, I mean, they've kind of shifted now in My Hero, but it's not like a perfect comparison, but that sort of like selfish desire.
Endeavor?
Endeavor, that's it. Endeavor.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
like, who's Hellflame?
I think that's what his power is called.
Oh, okay.
And that's the last thing I remembered. Endeavor, yeah, the number 2 hero. They remind me kind of Endeavor and like his motivations. When you were talking about it, that's the first thing that popped in my head. So it was kind of cool to actually have like something to me translate to a show I'm currently watching as well.
That fire imagery, that fiery passion.
Fiery passion, selfish.
I mean, fire is a selfish element if you think about it. It uses up all the resources for itself.
Consumes
and consumes
everything. Yep.
And let's not get into random ass like mythology and lore.
About things that don't have to do with what we're talking about, but only
Well, I mean,
somewhat.
a little bit.
A little bit,
But let's.
I don't have
let's
the research to go into that, so I'm gonna sit here quietly.
Well, I guess since we ask this every time, but how do you feel about the series now, Alec?
I'm enjoying it. I think, like I said last week, there were a couple episodes in this, I guess, season arc, because it's been one arc, I think, that were a little slow. But in general, it's been a lot more fast paced. I've enjoyed kind of the animation style more, because I feel like I've been reading a little less now that I kind of know who everyone is, and I'm not trying to remember, okay, what's your name and who are you, and like trying to just do that. I'm just trying to pay attention to like the words they say and then what's going on somewhat, like more like watching a show rather than like reading. So I'm enjoying it more. I liked the action scene that popped out of nowhere. That was cool. And it's got me interested, because they are dropping some bombs. Like he was like, oh, remember, like when he said, remember that dude that like almost raped you? I was like, hold up a second.
Oh,
Where'd
yeah.
that come from?
Because they only mentioned that once in the first season.
Yeah, and
It's like right when you meet Senju Gohara
Yeah.
too.
And I did not remember that. I was struggling in that season, but this one's a lot more enjoyable. I'm really interested for the next like episodes, and then I know I'm not going to get all the answers I want, so the next season of whatever continues what we're currently watching.
Yeah.
We get the other sister. We get Ski and her phoenix.
Will she
And it's-
rise above from the
Will
ashes?
she rise from the
That's right.
ashes? So she dies.
And
Will she raise you up?
figuratively? To more
and
than
we
I can
will
be?
also we will also get a toothbrush. So
I've
that's
seen
also
the
gonna
infamous
happen.
toothbrush scene with
Yeah, that
zero
was
context.
Alec's only introduction into Monogatari back
That
before
was.
he'd even seen the first series.
Before I even knew what it was. I didn't even know the name of it. Someone was just, I think you were just like, check out this scene.
I was like, dude, check this out.
What is this? Can we just watch
We were
it?
like
I was
about to play
okay.
a game of League or something, and I sent that to you and Steve, and then you guys were like, "What the hell
What
is
the
going on?"
fuck is this? Yeah, I'm pretty sure what happened. And you're like, it's a show. I'm pretty sure you're like, it's a show called Monogatari. Anyways, let's play League. I was like, okay, that was weird.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. So let's go back to these beers.
Yeah.
I mean, my beer.
Your
Is-
coaster
you got
stuck to the
a
bottom.
coaster with
Pretty-
you. Yeah,
You got a
it's
road
on for a
coaster.
ride.
Yeah, I got a roller coaster that followed with it. My beer is pretty interesting. It does just kind of
It's
look
really
like
good.
cold brew.
Yeah,
And
that brownish.
it does taste a
Dark
lot like coffee. I mean, it tastes like a cream ale with coffee. There's not much more I can say. There's like a very
Doesn't sound
caramel
bad.
caramel note, roasty caramel, so like malt and coffee. But
Is it like that artificial sort of like sweetness that you sometimes get? Like if I drink a cream soda, all I taste is like artificial sugar.
no, it just tastes like if you put a cream ale and then added some coffee to it. Like that it's just like the combination of flavors. So it's very basic, but
Mhm.
the interesting thing is it's actually very smooth. And I only noticed that this now, but I didn't say it was a nitro cold brew cream ale, so I feel like it's probably like the nitrogen is helping keep that kind of smooth texture, because it's very
sure.
like it's very much like drinking like a nitro cold brew coffee, but
Yeah.
less bitter, I would say, because it's obviously diluted and a little bit fizzy.
Interesting.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Would you buy it again?
I mean, I have 5 more of these, but it's a seasonal, so I don't know how many times it would come out. But if I wanted just like a basic kind of beer, and I do love coffee, so like I would say I would get it again. It's not like the Mother Earth Brewing California
Ugh.
Creamin'. I just really hate that beer so much.
Yeah.
That's like
They have new can art for that now. I saw it and it was
Yeah,
like,
can art's actually pretty cool.
I don't get why it's so popular. Like, a lot of people like it, but
it's a very
so
basic
bad.
yeah.
It's
It's like
flavor
sweet too, so it's like if you don't like beer, like try that. And it's good,
Yeah,
I guess.
it's a good entry
Yeah.
beer. It does taste like a cream soda. So like, Nadine had one and she really liked it. I tasted it and I was like, okay. I remember
Still don't
kind
like
of what
it.
it tastes like. It's a little sweet for me, and I'm not a big fan, but it does taste like a cream soda. So if you're into cream sodas and you kind of want to dip your toe into beer, it's a route to go. But personally, not a fan.
Yeah, not my favorite.
Well, Drew, what about your beer
Mhm.
geek series Vanilla Shake?
I don't even remember like why I bought this because it's not typically like a beer that I would go to or like be like my first choice, but I enjoy Mikkeller, so that's possibly kind of maybe why I did it. It's interesting. It's actually really basic. So it's like I said, it's an imperial stout with coffee and vanilla. I don't really get the coffee at all, like maybe a little bit, but it's like it's super vanilla-y, but in like a good way. It's not that super artificially syrupy kind of flavor that I was mentioning before. um it's just too much of it, I think. And it kind of finishes with that like bittery like kind of aftertaste of coffee, but it's like I don't know if it's like super pleasant. It may also be because this beer's kind of old. Like I think I said I got it like 3 or 4 months ago or so. But it's like drinkable. Like I'm like taking little sips of it. It's fine to just kind of sip on. I don't think I'll finish the whole thing because it's 11%. But yeah, it's smooth, like an imperial stout. But it's just that too much, I think, flavoring in terms of like sweetness for me personally. But it's drinkable and it's got a nice, really dark, dark color. Hardly any head, but I think that might be just because it's a little bit older. It's okay. It's not my favorite, but it's not bad.
All right. What? I guess you did compare it to like the Victory at Sea. Right?
Yeah. It's similar to that, maybe a little bit more heavy than that beer. But I think the coconut, or at least Victory at Sea or Coconut Victory at Sea, it has the flavors balanced a little bit better. I think this would be better if it was coconut flavored as opposed to vanilla flavored. I think that might be a little bit better. I just think it's like,
Like a more
like when you
subtle
open up when you open up like
flavor.
vanilla, like when you're baking with it or whatever,
And the
and it's like
smell.
it's super alcoholic and it's like super like vanilla, like it's vanilla, so it's like smells like powerful vanilla. It's almost like drinking that but less intense alcohol flavor, if that makes sense.
So it's like you're drinking that, but legal.
Right.
Well, I mean, legal if you're old enough to drink.
I mean, I mean, I can drink vanilla extract if I wanted to.
Yeah, you could, but
It's
like
like
you're
Tastes like
not
crap.
supposed
It's
to.
like-
Awful.
It's like 50 proof or something. It's like some insane like amount, and it's actually really expensive too. Vanilla beans in general are
It
very
is, yeah.
expensive.
I remember the first time I tried extract, my mom was baking, and I was like, I want to try it. It smells so good. She's like,
it
no.
smells so
It
good,
tastes
but it's like you drink
terrible.
it.
And I was like, no, I bet it's good. She's like, all right.
Here's the
a
taste.
little tiny bit.
No,
I'm like,
And then he
"Ah,
threw up instantly.
ah."
onto
She's
the
like, I
floor.
told you, but you didn't listen to me.
Your mom is just like, all right, I'm gonna teach this kid a lesson.
I'm gonna teach him to listen to what I say when I say stuff is shit.
This idiot.
That'll teach him to not listen.
To not listen to me. Now when I tell him the stove is hot, he'll believe me. I say, remember the vanilla?
You
Do you want to touch the stove right now? He's like, no.
No, I don't. You're right.
All right. Well, Alec, how is that Bourbon County Twins 2017? And I guess compare it since you've had all three vintages.
So I think from what I'm remembering, it's my favorite. I don't know if it is different bourbon barrels. I didn't look into that, but this one is really good. The smell was a little more like vanilla.
vanilla.
I don't know, like vanilla oaky, boozy bourbon kind of flavor or scent. The other ones, I think, especially the 2019, maybe because it's a little newer, had more of that soy saucy smell
Mhm.
to it. This one has a lot less of that, and maybe it could just be that it's aged longer. Because I know a lot of like fresh barrel
Barrel
aged
aged
stouts have
has
that
that.
soy saucy smell to me. Like I'm sure my
It's
nose
because
isn't the best, but
they're not as dry as the more aged stuff. So
Mhm.
it's that sugary
sugary smell.
remnants, I guess.
Yeah.
That's why it's also so thick and like syrupy.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And you can definitely tell a difference in pouring it. Like the 2019 you poured, the head came out. Like you actually got a head. I poured this aggressively to the point where like little drops were like spewing out and it went bleep meh, and immediately disappeared. There's like no sugar in it to make a head. Like no, leftover sugars other than what's just you're drinking. So there's no head. It smells really good though. Really like strong vanilla, like I said, oak smell. The flavor is super malty, toasty, roasty. It's not like super roasty to me. It's like if it were like coffee, it'd be like light coffee, but it doesn't taste like light coffee. But it's like that spectrum of like kind of
So you get
charredness.
more. So you're getting less. Like if you compare it to coffee, you're getting less of like the sort of like a lightly roasted coffee has less of like the chocolatey like roasted malt flavor
Hmm.
and like kind of dark bitter stuff, whereas light roast is more like fruity, floral.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean it's not
it's like
fruity and floral,
lighter,
but
cleaner,
exactly.
cleaner and lighter, like more acidic maybe
Yeah,
even.
it's definitely like a cleaner flavor. The other ones I felt were like heavy on the palate, really heavy on the palate to the point where I was taking longer sips in between. I've resisted drinking this faster than I've already been drinking it, mainly because it's
It's because you just
15%, and also
he
because
just guzzles it down.
yeah, it's really good. So like it sits lightly on the tongue. The flavors are more present, so like the flavor of the vanilla comes out. The flavor of it's boozy. It has that flavor. Um, it comes out with kind of like trying to think of the other. Let me just taste it.
There we
Drink
go.
it.
Yeah, drink it. Drink the beer.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like vanilla, oak.
Vanilla.
There is like chocolate. It's like a dark cacao though, more so than like sometimes when it's like a muddled flavor, it's just like I taste chocolate in there. This is like I can pick out like that tastes like a piece of dark chocolate that I just like bit into.
As compared to maybe the 2019, which was more muddled,
Yeah, it's
maybe.
more muddled with the other flavors, and it's like I can see chocolate in there, but I get a lot of bourbon, like really heavy, like boozy flavor, and really heavy like charred, like roasty flavor. Whereas this is like dark chocolate, um, toasty vanilla oak, and you get like I don't know, it's just really good. Of the three, I think this would be my favorite. The 2018 and 2019, I don't remember both of them very well, but I think that they were probably very similar because I don't remember the 2018 standing out to me. Like I would say this one stands out to me. I'd say it was a lot more like the 2019 than this is.
It's interesting. I do remember the 2019. I believe the barrels they used were like a mixture of like Knob Creek and Wild Turkey.
I think
So,
you're right, yeah, because we looked it up.
you said this was just Knob Creek, right?
Yeah, it's the 11-year single batch Knob Creek
Okay, so
barrels.
yeah, it could a lot of it could have to do with like the barrels they were aged in,
Yeah,
and like the kind of flavor profiles that those bourbons would in like I guess infuse into the beer.
yeah. I was googling too, like what the Knob Creek 11-year kind of tastes like, and they were saying it has like really light cherry flavors, caramel sweetness. That's the flavor I was trying to think of. Caramel, like
Caramel, okay.
caramelized sweetness. But for the Knob Creek, it's like taste up front is like caramel, and then it's got like herbs, cinnamon, rye on the mid palate, and then the flavor is like burnt sugars, vanilla pudding, corn and cherries are like really subtle, and then the same kind of like spices and oak. So you do get a lot of those. I don't get cherries or corn. I think it would be hard to get a subtle flavor, a flavor that's subtle in a whiskey. In a beer that was from the bourbon barrel.
Yeah.
That's I'm not a sommelier here going.
Yeah.
I taste the cherry from the cask strength bourbon.
I wish you taste the cherry. I bet it would be good.
It would be good. Honestly, if this had like a cherry flavor, it would take it up a whole nother notch, and that would be really good.
Like those Black Forest cakes, it's like chocolates and cherries and like booze and stuff. It's
Yeah.
like delicious and like super heavy. It's like, yeah.
Like
Put that in a beer.
like those coffee bean frappuccinos or whatever, because that's what everyone, like back in the day before coffee bean, I guess, reinvented its image. They just copied the whole Starbucks frappuccino thing, but theirs was like the whole like Black Forest and White Forest themed ice blended drinks, and so they like modeled themselves after those desserts.
About it.
This is a dessert beer for sure, though. Raspberry cheesecake.
Yeah, this is definitely a
100%.
dessert beer. I bet cheesecake would be really good with this too. Yeah.
It's just like it's got that bitterness that the sweetness from cheesecake would just cut right through.
Mm-hmm.
But after having like a glass of this with a piece of cheesecake, I'd be done.
You'd be
eating
done.
things for the night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm gonna do? I have something that's gonna pair really well with this, so I'll be right back.
Oh, we're getting a live pairing,
We're getting a
people.
live
Pairing.
Well,
yeah.
As an aside, so I'm wondering, so like we see a lot of these barrel aged beers, like they're in bourbon barrels.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know like how bourbon is produced, they have to be aged in new American oak casks.
Right.
Otherwise, it can't be classified as a bourbon.
Right.
So I'm sort of wondering, since like obviously if you're like part of the whole bourbon barrel age like thing is about like kind of upcycling these used barrels that like you can't really use them again in like the bourbon aging process because they have to be new American oak to be classified as a bourbon. I'm wondering, sort of as an experiment, what it would be like if you aged a beer in a new American oak cask.
Oh, just
As
like,
in like it's like you're bourbonifying a beer.
I wonder if
I'm
anyone's
just
done it.
I don't know.
Someone has to have done it. At some
It just
point, going, what would that be like?
Just to me, it seems like it would impart a lot more very bitter and like darker, like more earthy flavors, and like you would get a lot more of like that tanniny kind of like stuff that you would get if you had like just were drinking a bourbon or you were drinking a wine, you know.
It would be interesting. I'm googling.
All right,
now.
you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you got? Oh, he's got a Samoa.
Are they
A
frozen?
Samoa. They're not. I have frozen Thin Mints.
Oh,
I don't
okay,
like
that's
Samoas
fine.
that are frozen.
That's fine. I can get
But
behind
I
it.
talked about wanting coconut with this, so I'm curious to see if coconut will be good.
Coconut and caramel.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Coconut caramel chocolate. It's toasted coconut. Good? Okay, he's got the okay hand.
The okay hand emoji has come out. Is it better?
It actually cuts like you get like an initial front of like the real like. Again, it's not like super artificial. It's just like vanilla. It's like straight vanilla extract. But the coconut actually does like the coconut and the chocolate and even the caramel to some extent because it's kind of salty. Like cut through it like right away and like it finishes really well. So Samoas and stouts for sure. And for this one in particular, it goes really well. So
I think that's an actual pairing.
for sure.
Someone posted in our Discord chat. I think it was Mark. Was it Mark or was it you, Drew? There was some.
It was Mark.
Okay, it was the whole like Girl Scout cookie pairing thing, and I think Samoas were paired with stouts.
I mean,
for sure.
I'm not surprised. The flavors are
Yeah,
very similar.
and I think it was like there was like barrel aged stuff that was paired with like tagalongs, or however like they're called different things in
Now
different
I'm
depending on where
thinking
you.
of the Samuel Smith oatmeal stout with Samoas and salivating.
Trying to be- That would be interesting.
think
I
that
almost
would be
bought
really
one
good.
today. Not
Is it
the
Samuel
Samoas,
Smith?
but the Samuel Smith.
Samuel Smith, yeah. I almost buy
You,
one every time I go to the store.
I think
I can't,
Girl
not-
Scout cookies the last week too was like this weekend. So if like you're dying to to try this tasting, go beg a Girl Scout who
Go to your local
maybe,
Vons.
maybe ordered
Yeah, go to your
maybe
local-
ordered too many, trying to get rid of them.
I mean, Keebler does make Samoas now. I don't know what
Right.
they call them.
Yeah.
I think they're exactly the same.
I think they're called like coconut O's or some weird,
Yeah.
weird
Yeah.
thing.
And I'm
like-
pretty sure they're made exactly the same, and they're like
Yeah.
half the price. But support your Girl
Like,
Scouts.
well-
They do a good. It's like they do good things. They.
I
teach
wouldn't be
girls finance and
surprised if
stuff.
Keebler is a source for these Girl Scout cookies.
Maybe, honestly, they're like,
For
why
sure.
don't we do this year round and then just like
Yeah,
limit
the
production?
elves. The girl elves.
Yeah, 'cause it's like you
The
can-
girl elves make 'em.
You can find a lot of the different Girl Scout cookies at like Trader Joe's, like their own version of that stuff. But you know, it's just not the same. You know,
No, it's
you,
just
It's
you
just
gotta buy
support.
because
There's-
you support a cause and then you freeze a box in your freezer,
yeah, and then it gets packed behind all the stuff you buy from Costco.
and then when you find it later,
you're like, oh my
oh,
god,
I've got these Girl Scout cookies.
My cat is like assaulting me like to try to
Give me that.
these
Don't get none.
cookies. She's
So
like,
I
"Give it to me."
googled it, and potentially there's a beer from the brewery, Bruery.
Oh yeah, the
and
brewery.
they have an anniversary beer that was supposedly or will supposedly be, I don't know, this was years ago, so was supposedly in aged in new French and new American oak barrels. This post was
So-
2013, so
Okay.
we may have missed the boat on that one, but it's been done, I guess, potentially.
All right, I'm just gonna correct you, David, in chat. Tagalong is not the language of the Philippines. That is Tagalog. Just gonna
Yeah.
point that out.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's definitely not tagalongs.
But anyways, moving on from this discussion topic, let's kind of rate these beers. So, I'll go first. I mean, I would have this beer again. It's definitely good. I've been seeing a lot of like Highbrew Coffee being like a collaboration with some of these breweries, or maybe it is just New Belgium. I'm not actually sure. I just know I've seen Highbrew. Just like I've seen this logo like multiple times before, like in collaboration with something. So it's good. I wouldn't say it's like my favorite type of beer. Like I actually kind of like that Figaro Mountain I had last week, that blonde ale, a little bit more because it's more of like an actual like just beer taste. This is kind of like a fizzy coffee that's slightly like caramel sweet, but I don't know. Like if I'm in the mood for something like this, I would probably get it again if it were not a seasonal item. But it's pretty cheap, $10 for a 6-pack. Not much to say, but it's very average. So I'm gonna give it an average score, 3.5.
All right,
Nice.
average.
Drew?
Mine without the Girl Scout cookie is lower than with the Girl Scout cookie because I think the Girl Scout cookie makes it better. Without, because of like the strong, like too strong vanilla flavor and not enough coffee, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3. However, if you eat it with a Samoa, it is elevated a little bit. I'm thinking like 3.5. I have to push the Samoas away from me because I will eat the whole box of that because it's
eating the box.
Samoas are like my favorite Girl Scout cookie to begin with, and so it's like I think that's like what is helping it. But I will crush that whole sleeve, and then I will drink the whole beer, which are two things that I probably should avoid on a Tuesday.
And then you're gonna
So,
read the nutrition information on the back of the box and be like,
I have
I
to
need
do
to
100
go to the
push-ups
gym
right now.
two cookies is 150 calories.
How much of your daily sugar is that?
Oh my god.
It's probably too much. Where is sugar? Total sugars. 11 grams, including 10 grams of added sugars, for a grand total of 20% of your daily sugar in two
In
cookies.
2 cookies. Yeah, if you get a whole sleeve of that, you're knocking on the door of diabetes there. Just like if you did that a lot.
Every day.
Yeah.
I got
You
10
get super
boxes
fat,
of these,
too.
and
You
I
get very
finished them in
fat.
a week.
All right, Alec, what about the 2017 version of the Bourbon County?
The 2017 of the Bourbon County is, sorry, I bumped my desk. Very good. Very, very,
Very
very
good.
good. Very,
Very
good.
good.
I definitely think this. I would buy this again. It's one of those beers that I just wish would keep coming out, but unfortunately, it's 3 years old, so it doesn't really come out all that often. I'm gonna go find another, and I'm gonna save it.
I'm gonna go
And-
I'm gonna go get like whatever I can find because I've seen the 2018 and the 2019 like just being sold as singles. Like
Right.
I might just grab some to
If
age.
you see the 3-pack too, like it's $50, but honestly, this alone
that's
is,
like
worth it.
$15.
This
Yeah.
is really good. But yeah, really good beer. I'm hesitant, but I really enjoy this. I would buy it again. I would save one specifically to have it again. So it's gonna be one of my few and only 5s that I've ever given
There you
a
go.
beer. So very, very good. I highly recommend it to anyone. Yeah, very good.
I recommend anyone.
Really
All right.
enjoy it.
Because I
Also-
think we
oh, go
gave I think we all gave everyone that had the Bourbon County gave it a 4.5,
I
right?
think so. Yeah, 4.5 or at least.
Or maybe you gave it a
4.25.
4.75.
I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to go back and look, but it was
Yeah.
a good rating. This is really good.
So it's a step above.
It
You want to
is.
get that extra half a point? You gotta
You
age
gotta
it for a couple
age
years.
it for 3 years, and then only have the 11 year.
Only the 11
non-cream.
years.
No
single,
others.
Was it single batch
Yeah,
version or single
batch.
barrel?
Single. I have it here.
'Cause if it's single barrel, then that's even. No, it can be single barrel because if it's single barrel, then they couldn't
Small
have enough.
batch.
Yeah, you couldn't
Small
have enough for.
And then something that makes me really intrigued to want to buy another. I saw someone, they made a slow cooked corned beef and cabbage, and they cooked it with this like in as the liquid. So I'm curious how that turned
Interesting.
out, and now I kind of want to do it, but
You gonna do it for St. Patty's?
I should. That's kind of
It's
a
coming
good
up.
idea. I gotta go find another bottle or two. I don't know how much liquid I need. Last note, not about that, but the brewery does have a new American oak brewed beer. It's called Sucre. It's been retired. It's been replaced by Arbre, I guess. And I'm trying to read it here. There's like 3 versions of the Arbre, but they had 3 other retired versions of new American oak aged beers.
Beers. Okay,
Yeah.
and I'm guessing those are stouts, imperial stouts.
So the Sucre, the one that I looked, was a it's a English style old ale. So
Oh,
it's-
okay.
Yeah, using a house Belgian yeast strain.
Okay, it probably has an old beer probably has a lot of sugar in it too.
And then they have an imperial red and an imperial Malbec.
Oh,
So no stouts.
interesting.
The newest one, the Arbre. Let me see. I'm trying to see.
I'm pretty sure those are like the $30 bottles too, right?
Probably.
Because
I
like
don't-
I've seen a lot of the brewery beers and like those special ones get very pricey.
They really do, yeah. And the Arbre is a malty imperial stout,
Okay.
and it's been divided into 3 parts.
New American Oak. New
Well,
French
it's
oak?
like all American oak, but I think they have like different styles
Okay.
that they've brewed each one. So I'm looking at the medium. So they have a medium toast, I think a light toast, and then a dark toast.
Okay. So yeah.
Alligator char is what they call it. So.
This is more referencing if you guys want to know more of this stuff, you should go definitely check out Whiskey Tribe's YouTube channel. But basically, part of the bourbon aging process is when you get a new barrel made with obviously it's New American Oak, but part of the process of the aging is you can't just have just straight barrel like oak barrel and put the liquid in there because it's just going to leak out. What you have to do is you have to char the inside so that it prevents the liquid from escaping from the actual cask itself. But part of what this does is depending on how dark or light you char the barrel itself on the inside, that can change the flavor profile that gets imparted into the bourbons. So I'm assuming these 3 different types are your 3 roasts, your 3 chars for the different I guess flavor profiles that go into the beers.
If you want a written version of what he just said, I just linked the website. It's thebrewery.com/beer/arbre hyphen, and then the one I'm looking at is alligator char. I'm assuming it's hyphen, medium toast, and then light toast. They give a little blurb in here, and so it kind of says the variations of the arbor spent time resting in barrels treated with the deepest. This is the deepest, boldest char, is what it says for the alligator char. So it has like burnt marshmallow, black currant. Or is that how you say it? Anyways, caramelized brown sugar, charred oak, and dense dark chocolate fudge. So it's like very heavy,
like more complex flavors. Yeah.
And then the other ones they'll give you a little blurb. So if you're interested, go check out their website. Check out the Whiskey Tribe. All of it is cool.
Yeah. Well, that was an interesting conversation we had. We haven't really talked too much about like beer in depth in a while.
Yeah, it's been.
But it was good to kind of like talk about that. And then we got a live pairing from Drew, so that was
that's a first, I think.
Yeah.
No, well, we've had Cheez-Its.
We've had Cheez-It pairings before.
An actual legitimate live pairing where it's like Cheez-Its work with everything. Except maybe this. No, I think Cheez-Its
I don't know.
would still
I don't
work.
know if Cheez-Its would work with that one stout we had last weekend. Or not last weekend, the weekend
Parmesan?
before. Yeah.
No, but we could have Parmesan crackers.
We could.
Where it's just like roasted Parmesan.
Yeah.
That would have been pretty good. We could have had dog treats too. Or
or soy sauce.
Rice with soy sauce.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about no?
Yeah, no.
Anyways, moving on. So let's go into our news break. We've got 3 pieces of news for you today. So the first piece of news here is, again, we're talking about the coronavirus because that's what everyone's talking about. But apparently, Corona, the beer company, they offered $15 million to help change the coronavirus name to Bud Light virus, and so this is obviously like a joke. Like they're not like seriously. Did they seriously do this? Hold on. No, they have offered. So Constellation Brands, company behind Corona Beer, have offered up to $15 million to help change the coronavirus's name to Bud Light virus. And then it says executives were thought to be incredibly concerned with the rising publicity of the deadly virus that has so far killed. It says here over 100 people. It's been more than that. And pledged an initial $10 million to change the coronavirus name to literally anything else, with a further $5 million if the name is changed to Bud Light virus. So this is definitely not going to happen. And I guess it's just kind of funny. They're just like poking fun, I guess, at this situation.
I mean,
maybe
Bud Light and
I'm
Corona
not sure.
are the same people, so I'm pretty sure they're both owned by the same people, aren't they?
No.
I thought they were.
Budweiser is AB InBev, and Constellation is the owner of Corona.
I thought they got bought out by AB InBev.
No.
Oh, I could have sworn they did.
It says here in the article that Constellation Brands, like the CEO for Constellation, is pushing for this, and they said this on CNN. So
CNN.
I guess I'm not baffled that a big beer company would do something like this.
No.
It's something that's maybe not exactly the most politically correct thing to do at the moment, but if you're interested to know, Corona just means crown in Spanish, so that is the actual shape of actual Corona. Like, is it viri? How do you say virus plural? Viruses. Okay, but that like you're asking to change the name of a specific branch of virus. Like, this isn't coronavirus like that's going around right now is like COVID-19. It's like a separate strain of actual coronavirus, which is like its own thing. So I don't know. It seems a little bit maybe what's the word?
Insensitive.
No, it's not the word I'm looking for is like similar to like it's tone deaf.
Mm.
It's definitely tone deaf. But I mean, I guess you could say they got people talking about it. They got people.
guess.
I don't know. Poking
I
a joke
did
at
see
Bud
in the
Light.
Reddit post about this article. Someone made an excellent. They said instead of because they were saying they should call it Bud Light something or whatever. A commenter said they should call it Bud Lightus instead.
Oh, Bud Light.
I was like, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
They got the itis.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree with that one.
Bless you. Next piece of news. So, also related to the coronavirus and Corona beer. So the Corona beer CEO says coronavirus is not impacting sales.
Drink
So-
Corona to kill Corona.
So the top boss of Corona said Wednesday in Las Vegas. This is on the Las Vegas Review Journal. I guess I should point out that the other article was from Bird Street Journal, but the Corona CEO stated that the sales of the beer are fine and no one is buying any less of it, but despite the misinformation for people that don't understand what the word corona means, they haven't been linked with coronavirus, I guess you could say, negatively, in the fact that people are thinking, oh fuck, I would get coronavirus if I drank Corona. But I just thought it was interesting because they do go on to reference here that like a decade ago, back when the swine flu was going on, like the pork industry in the US took a huge hit because it's the swine flu, but it had nothing to do with like actual pork. So just like, you know, the similarities in names could play into it.
I think the only reason that I think everything is getting impacted at this point by coronavirus, but the only reason Corona is getting impacted by coronavirus is because less people want to go outside and go to the store and buy beer. More people are stocking up on toilet paper right now than they are.
Yeah,
on beer.
toilet paper is a bigger issue right now because a lot of there's a lot
Glad I
of
bought toilet
panic
paper before this.
panic and frenzy going around
There
with
is.
the coronavirus, and people are
We need more
stocking up in
bidets.
toilet paper.
I was like, man, more people are gonna start using cups with water.
Maybe.
All I know is I saw an article and it was basically yelling at people to stop buying masks and saying like there are doctors who can't buy masks right now because you've bought all the damn masks. So stop buying masks.
Buying a mask will not prevent you from getting the virus unless you're like in constant contact with someone that is infected. The masks are intended for you to wear when you are sick because it prevents you from spreading shit to other
Coughing
people.
on it's to prevent droplets. So
From
like
escaping.
this is passed, you know, like through droplets. So like you sneeze, you have like little droplets that come from your lungs that are filled with the virus that gets in you, on your hands, in your mouth, wherever, you get sick.
Yeah.
And so to prevent that, you wear a mask. You wearing a mask is not going to stop you from getting sick.
Unless
Yeah,
you have one of those.
Oh,
No. But
an actual respirator.
Like the what is it, N95?
Yep. I get fitted for those. I don't even work in the hospital anymore, but I get fitted for those every year, and it's to like prevent like TB. So if like you wear it correctly, it is hard to breathe because it is A, a respirator, and B,
no air can get in. Yeah.
preventing shit like getting in there.
But like the other thing about it is like mostly you wearing that isn't going to do anything for you if you're not sick. It just prevents, you know, the droplets from getting into your mouth. But if you're touching stuff that already has the contaminant on it, and then you go on to touch your nose or mouth, then you're gonna get sick.
Or
So it
you
doesn't even matter.
take the mask. You
Yeah.
take the mask off. You're touching your
You're
face.
touching your face,
Like people are so stupid.
Yeah. Wash your hands.
Wash your
And
hands.
don't touch your
Yeah,
face.
don't be disgusting. Don't be disgusting. Like practice normal hygiene.
Right before
Yeah.
you eat, wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Boom.
Not
and then,
not like put some soap and then done. It's
Yeah.
like no, go
Oh.
in there, wash your hands,
Get some
You know,
friction.
that's- yeah.
Generate some heat.
go in
Get in
there,
there.
get clean.
The goal is, and they teach you this in nursing school. Sing the ABCs twice, and you will generally have washed your hands successfully. So
Oh,
What
that's
is that,
that's
like?
interesting.
or happy birthday twice. You could do that too.
How
you know,
quickly? Like,
either way.
ABCDFGH.
No, like
No, just ABCD, that's it.
Right, normal
You know, like
ABCD.
normal.
Easy.
So what is that, like 45 seconds, 30 seconds, something like that?
I mean, if you want to be super thorough, you want to wash your hands for like a minute, but like you get like a 35, 45 seconds in there, you're probably good.
Fine.
Yeah. All right.
Use soap.
And then just don't put your hands in your mouth.
Yeah, don't be a disgusting animal. Like, don't go to God. Don't we can't go to any anime conventions because that's just like a total
Oh yeah. You can't go to an anime
Um,
convention because people
gloves.
don't wash their hands. They're just gonna say like, I've seen a plenty amount of people in these public restrooms
Go
that
from
just
the
go to the bathroom.
Urinal.
Maybe they'll like put their hands in the sink for like a second and then they'll just leave, or just straight go. Yeah.
Kind of on the same note,
Forehead.
I'm seeing a tweet from Devolver Digital: cancel your E3 flights because E3 2020 likely to be canceled. So
I'm not
there's
surprised.
going to be a lot
There's a lot of things
cancellations.
that are gonna be canceled. There's a good chance the Olympics are gonna get canceled.
Poor
Unfortunately.
Tokyo, man.
Well, unfortunately for them, also they had another canceled Olympics, which was during a world war. But
Unlucky.
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 They
yeah,
they
my
have
company canceled all travel. So
they have
Everybody's doing
Tokyo has, or I mean Japan has in general somewhat like their spread of the virus within their country, like although they have a lot of confirmed cases with the virus, like most of it being on that Diamond Princess cruise ship, like they have contained the spread and it's elevating way slower than in other cases. Like obviously China, it's like they had to quarantine a whole like province, and then like South Korea it spread very fast. Italy it spread very fast, and so I think it's one of the slower growing areas. So they've done a pretty good job of preventing their population from getting infected, at least. So, you know, maybe it's a good sign for the Olympics. Who knows?
maybe. On a different note, I did Google because I wasn't sure. It does show. I went to AB InBev's website and they show Corona as one of their beers. It shows that they own Grupo Modelo, who apparently owns Corona. But yeah, on their website they have Corona listed as one of the beers under their umbrella.
Okay, well, it says here in the article the Constellation Brands. Is Constellation under AB InBev?
I have no idea, but I'm just looking at their website, abinbev.com, our brands, and it shows the beer Corona, yeah, as one of their brands.
Or
It's a Mexican. This one doesn't say.
could they just be a
Constellation.
distributor?
I'm not sure. I'm just seeing what's like on their website, and then when I googled like, are they owned by it? I just saw Grupo Modelo, and they're owned by AB InBev. I don't know if like Constellation is now owning them and that's new, or if Constellation is under Grupo Modelo or what, but that's what I see on their website for our brands.
All right, well, I'm just going to say that I'm going to trust the news sources for now because they're supposed to fact check their information.
Fake news. I mean, I
real
don't know.
fake news.
Is their website? Let me see. Constellation.
Well, you looked that up. So David here in chat has been saying about in relation to this Corona stuff that if anything, it's supposed to have an opposite effect because apparently alcohol can combat the virus. I don't know if that exactly is gonna work if you're drinking the beer, because technically you might just be weakening your immune system. So
Maybe.
but you are correct that alcohol is a good combatant against viruses on your extremities. But yeah, anyways, last piece of news. Konosuba Legend of Crimson Legend of Crimson, the anime film, is coming to Crunchyroll, and looks like that is happening on March 25th. The English dubbed version will be coming in April 2020, and then the Konosuba Season 1 Blu-ray set is set to launch in the US on May 25th. But, so the English sub, at least, is coming to the US, Canada, South Africa, Central and South America, MENA. I don't think I've ever seen MENA before. This is MENA and Europe and its territories.
Maine,
No.
Maine and Europe.
Yes. Any Europeans, please correct. But I don't think I've ever seen that acronym before. But basically, in English-speaking regions that are supported by Crunchyroll. Okay. Yeah, I get you, David. You didn't fact check. I'm just making a joke as well. I'm poking fun at you. All right. So let's move on to our happy hour. So first up on our docket, we've got Pet, current airing show, and we've all seen it, right? Correct?
Mhm.
Yep.
So this show, I don't know, it's very interesting to me. And I thought this episode in particular did a very good job of very smooth transitions between memories, recollections, the mind world and like the real world. Like it's very smooth transitions. It actually sort of reminds me a little bit of Inception a bit.
Yeah.
It's like these, like normally where you would expect a cut, like it does cut, but like it's so smooth that you're not sure like what reality you're in.
Yep.
So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I agree. I think I just wish the animation was a little bit better, because then this show would be like super super high up for me. There's some of the things are like hard to get over in terms of like the poor quality, but like the storytelling and like the actual direction I think is very good. And I'm really enjoying the story. And as much as like some of the characters can be annoying, I think like how they're portrayed and like how they're growing and like where they're going is like super interesting. Like we all talked about like Hiroki and like how he's like super annoying, but it's like there's a reason why he's super annoying. He's basically a dog.
Yeah.
And that's like,
He's
if
a
a dog could talk, that's how a dog would act. But he's been super cool, especially these last two episodes where he finds Hayashi, and they talk about the reasoning, why he can see his image. His lock is very weak, and that's how they're eventually going to like try to catch him or whatever. So you get like that whole interaction, and then moving forward like more to this week, he like kind of runs away, and he's like, this guy's actually kind of fucking crazy, and
With
he's
his eyes?
like.
Yeah, his eyes, and he kept like wiping his drool off of his face.
Oh yeah, that was like super creepy. He's just like constantly wiping this drool. He's like a drug addict. But I mean, his character is super interesting as well, because it's like he's got this like ulterior motive of like trying to like overthrow the company essentially, and run away with Hiroki. And it's like, does he even want to do that at this point? Because it's like,
yeah, it doesn't seem like he even cares that much. He only cares about using Hiroki.
Yeah, he wants to use Hiroki, and he wants to crush Satoru. Like that is like his like kind of main goals, and then also to like on the other side like kind of escape the company. But his character is like becoming like this super like creepy, like conniving and not very good at it like sort of character, because it seems like all the other characters are kind of one step ahead of him. So I'm curious to see, because like he kind of has that thought. He's like, oh, this is going to be my opportunity now. To crush Satoru and get like Hiroki back. So it's super interesting to like to see how he thinks, but he's like also not very good at it, I feel, or gets like easily manipulated by the other characters. So like I'm really curious to see kind of like how this show's gonna like wrap up and end, because it's like there's like a lot of things kind of all happening at one time. And so yeah, we'll kind of have to wait and see where it goes.
Yeah. Alec, what do you think of the show? Or this episode, I guess, in particular.
I like this episode. I caught up on a whole bunch of them really quickly, and so now I'm trying to remember. It's like the binging all over again. Everything blurs into one. But this is the one, yeah, where he was going crazy and he had the scratchies.
And he smashed all those
and
fish
he
tanks.
smashed all the fish tanks.
Very
and
expensive all that crap was.
Crushing that arowana, like just like smashing it. It's like that's like a $3,000 or $4,000 fish. Like let me,
He, like,
let me just
steps
let me
on it.
step on it.
Let me just kill it. I just remember thinking he seemed more like the pet than Hiroki.
Oh,
did
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
in
Well,
this one.
and he started off that way too.
Mhm.
So he's like trying to become his own, but he's not good in like social
Yeah.
situations.
He's dependent on his own pet.
Yeah,
Right.
he's essentially like this dog without a master, and is like trying to be the leader of his own pack, right? But he's like
Well, and-
kind of like a drug addict in that sense too, because it's like he acts like a drug addict that's having withdrawal symptoms because he doesn't like he crushed his own owner or
Yeah.
Yeah.
his own master.
No.
What was it?
It's kind
Peak
of
Giver.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Peak
kind
Giver,
of
yeah.
thought of this. He's like a dog. You know, he's like biting the hand that feeds, and you know what eventually happens to that kind of dog? They get taken out back, and you know,
Put down.
Yeah.
But-
Or
yeah.
we can just say like this one got put into the
Old
shelter
Yeller.
as the company would be.
right? It's I don't know. Like I want to know where it goes because like I kind of want him to fail. I don't necessarily
yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
you know, and
No,
the way that
definitely.
he's going about a lot of these things is like really stupid and it's like it's things that like you and I would like if we saw somebody doing this like why are you doing that like it's like really stupid like you're
Yeah.
an idiot.
It's good that you mentioned that because like I have been actively rooting for him to fail too,
Yeah.
and it's been a while since we've had like a good anti-hero in the sense like I know we had one what was that show we were watching a couple seasons ago?
Good anti-hero.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I guess a good example is like Overlord has an anti-hero, right?
Slime guy.
Slime. I guess you could kind of say that because technically he's like
Like destroys like
destroying stuff.
civilizations and
Yeah. but like in a I guess in a more of like a contemporary setting, like we've got a good anti-hero that like you know he's the main character and like you sort of want to see him overthrow this company, but at the same time you see how fucked up he is and you're like, well, now I kind of, despite how annoying Hiroki is, I kind of want him to like kind of take the main role, I guess you could say, and like right the ship.
Well, I like Satoru too. Like I think
Yeah.
he's like a really interesting character. Obviously obsessed with Hayashi, which is kind of annoying, but like he's starting to like come into his own too. He's like he likes the the Chinese lady. I know the dude's name is like Ling or Long or whatever. I can't remember her name. But,
The guy the guy
guy
that's
is
in
in
charge of
Long.
the company is Long, and I
Mhm.
think she is May.
She's
No, May is niece in Chinese, I believe. I think that's just what they were calling her. Whatever.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's a cool character, and he's a little bit more independent. It seems like because he's been away from Hayashi for so long, but at the same time still has like that like huge obsession over it. But I hope he doesn't get crushed.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's just gonna end up getting crushed.
That could happen. What if
Jin,
it just
right.
ended
His
up
name is
like
Jin.
Jin,
Jin.
yeah.
Or like Hayashi comes back somehow.
I actually,
I mean, he's not fully crushed.
he's not fully
They
crushed,
said.
but I would say that there's a chance that they could sort of pull some sort of Deus Ex Machina thing and bring him back, and he
Well,
writes
he-
everything.
And he's like, and they keep bringing him up like he's not dead.
Yeah.
They were keeping him alive and all this stuff, and he's like his brain, is crushed, but he's still alive. So I would definitely
Technically,
see...
so were all these other people before they got their peaks shared with them.
exactly. So
Someone could go back and help. Hiroki could become his
reconstruct it.
peak
Give him
giver.
a new peak.
Oh,
right.
how mind blown would you be with that? Inception. You
Peak
got the
Inception.
circle of peaks.
Yeah. He gets the peak given to him from someone who got the peak from Hayashi.
From him. Yeah. Wow. What a world.
And it's
what
a
what an
different
anime
peak.
world.
And he gives him a different peak. No, what if he gave him the same peak that he had before, but now he's attached to Hiroki being like, oh my god, you gave me my peak, but it's actually his. peak.
Wow.
Wow.
What a
Peakception, dude.
Does
Does
the
Peakception.
top fall or not at the end? Of
I
that
don't know.
movie?
It's a circle at this point. All right. Well,
We're in space.
anything,
Nothing falls.
anything else with Pet that you guys want to talk about?
No, it's an interesting
good.
show. It's cool.
Yeah, it's one of the surprises in the fact that I don't think any of us expected it to be good after all of the delays.
Right.
But I am kind of glad that we were interested in it in the first place.
It looked interesting when we
Yeah.
looked at it, and then they were like, "Oh, just kidding." Honestly,
Yeah.
of like, I think most of the shows this season, it's one of the few that I'm excited to watch every week. Like, oh, cool, it's out. Let me watch it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of other shows that are sort of exciting to watch every week when, they're interesting, but
they're
I feel like the current arc of Maggia Record has been like interesting, and like this episode in particular, we get the reveal of Mommy working for the wings of the Magius.
Magius, yeah.
So I don't like the new character at all.
She's so annoying,
yeah,
right?
she's annoying. But like, I guess I get the way she's the way she is, but I think I'm not really sold exactly on the whole Mommy situation. So I'm not sure if she's acting like on her own whims, or if this is something that ties into like the outside of Kamihama Kyubeis or Kyubei.
I feel like it's super forced, right?
Yeah.
Like it feels like we got to get a way to incorporate them back in. So let's make him a bad guy, and then like let's have her say it's for the girls that I raised or whatever. Like I was showing them the way, so I have to like protect them, and this is like the only way to save anything. It feels like a super cop out to me, and I really don't like it.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. The thing about it is I kind of looked up how the setting for the phone game works, but apparently this whole Kamihama area it's a singularity point that currently isn't affected by God Madoka, and she's currently looking over everything that's going on. Like that's the setting of the game, is she's overlooking what's happening here, and then she will intervene if necessary, but she's not intervening in the sense that there's a possibility that if she does something that it could create a whole bunch of chaos with the causality of the universe or whatever.
Interesting.
Cause and effect thing. I don't know how this shit works, like
they needed an excuse to make a phone game, so they made a really like convoluted like
thing.
world that is
Yeah.
out that so that it would make sense to still have magical girls, even though Madoka
like technically cancels it. So it's
Yeah.
like, if you already rewrote the rules, so why are you rewriting the rewrite? So I don't get it.
yeah.
It's an alternate universe to the alternate universe,
Yeah, but it exists in the universe.
but it exists in the same. Yeah. Did the top stop spinning or not?
I don't know.
All right, at the end of that movie, no one knows.
It's up to you.
It's up
It's up to you. It's open-ended.
It's your reality.
It's your. All right, thank you for tying it back to Inception, Alec.
You're welcome.
what do you think about this show? Did you see this episode?
I didn't. No.
You didn't?
So
Okay.
I just came in for the phone game part because I was like,
Okay.
oh, it's harmless for me to listen, but
Well, I mean, you didn't really miss anything. It's just a continuation of what happened in the previous episode.
No, they just get out of the endless
Yeah.
endless night, whatever.
And then Mommy's like, "I'm here."
I'm here. Here I
hi.
am. I don't know what to think about it, because it's like, well, I like Shaft, I like the art style, I like, a lot of things about it, like character design's pretty cool, like all that good stuff. It's just like the story's lacking, and I don't necessarily think it's like it's just like what they have to work with because it's a phone game. I don't know. It feels like it's just like the story isn't that interesting, and that's just what it is. I'll watch the show. I think it's like enjoyable enough, but there's no real substance. Whereas season or original Madoka is like cramming it down your throat with feels and all this like good storytelling and ultimate climax, and you kind of get a good resolution through it. This, I don't think we're gonna get that, and I don't know. I tend to like want to compare Iroha to Madoka, and that's not a fair comparison because they're not that similar. But that's what I want to do, and I think that's what's kind of breaks the show down for me too. And we don't even really have a character. I guess we kind of have a character like God, why can't I think of her name? Homura, like the chick with the spears. Or she's like kind of similar to that, but it's like
Yachio.
You just don't. You like want to compare these characters because it's like in the same world, but you can't. But you still end up doing it, and I don't know. It's just story's not that interesting.
Yeah, I feel like the thing that this show suffers from the most is like sort of an imposter syndrome, even though it's not an imposter, it's part of the actual like canon of the series. It's
That's
just
a really
that
good way to put it.
you can't, like, a lot of sequels like deal with this where when you have such an I wouldn't say it's an original idea, but when you have such like an idea for a story that really impacts everybody that watches it, and then it causes a lot of other similar series to start coming out. When you release a sort of sequel or side story, it just doesn't live up to the expectations you have, right? Because
Like
you can't be surprised. Yeah, you can't be surprised anymore. How many times do you think you can get surprised by the same thing? It's Aliens, right?
Yeah.
How many times do you think George Lucas is going to surprise you with a movie? Aliens. Nothing.
Aliens.
No one. Steven Spielberg and George Lucas.
It's midichlorians.
Oh my God, aliens! What are
It's
like
microorganisms?
You know what? Now I'm just thinking about it, but I bet you Steven Spielberg and George Lucas should go work for Studio Trigger. You're gonna get that alien collaboration going on. Aliens in space. Who knew that those two things fit together, right? Whoa. Mind blown.
All right.
Cool. I guess without spoiling anything more for Alec, I mean, there's nothing really happened in this episode.
Not really. They picked cups.
For me,
they picked
so
cups.
Far,
that was like half the
okay.
episode.
The show's okay. Like, that's how I feel.
I honestly,
It's okay.
I saw the episode and it was like, oh yeah, they're picking up cups. I was like in the middle of like building a desk, and then
Oh, okay.
and then I looked down and it just like it showed the episode title and I was like, the credits started airing. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
They like got out. Mommy showed up. They picked cups, and then the girl started talking to everybody, and then it was done. I'm like,
all right, we're done.
cool.
Okay.
All right.
That's it. Yeah. I don't know. The show's been okay. It's had good
It's
episodes.
okay.
I liked the chain episode with the stairs. I thought that.
Yeah.
I actually
was
like
fun.
the previous episode, the resolution to the AI.
That was it. That was an interesting story. Yeah.
I thought it was because like I talked about even the episode before how they had too many things like going on at the same time, but they kind of like wrapped it up in that one episode, and it made sense as to why all that stuff was happening and what they were talking about. It was like two separate issues, but kind of combined into one, so it did make more sense. But yeah, when you get an episode like this week's, it's like this is all right.
Yeah.
What's next?
The resolution episode. There's only one more thing to happen, essentially in the series. They have to confront the
Wings of
girls, the
whatever.
heads of the Wings of Magius that are
Mm.
apparently the friends of Ui, or Iroha's younger sister, the
Yeah.
disappeared one.
Right.
Who
And
knows?
that's what it's going to end up being. I mean, she'll probably be one of those girls, I would think. but
Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows?
It could be Madoka. What if it's Madoka, dude?
That's her younger sister.
God,
Oh,
God,
And that-
God, Madoka,
and that is
gave
why-
her only daughter, gave her
Her
only
only
daughter,
to sacrifice herself for the
to save the magical
to
girls.
save the magical girls. Wow. Who would have thought?
Beautiful.
Where did they come up with that plotline? Wow.
Oh
Who-
my good.
Who knew that was possible? Anyways,
Yeah.
last on our docket here, we've got My Hero Academia. We've got the upcoming school festival and Genturu Criminal trying
Says-
to mess things up by sneaking in. So
He reminds me of Team Rocket.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of like, ha ha ha, and then is like, oh crap, shit's going to shit. Let's
yeah, they're
try
just
our best.
that goofy villain.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
a goofy villain.
He's goofy, and like we were talking about a little bit, like I can definitely see like how a lot of people probably don't like this arc as much, because I mean you go from like super intense like save this little girl overhaul arc to this weird YouTube idiot who's
I love
kind of
it.
dumb but has like this sense of like he has like this Robin Hood or like this sort of like what did I call it last week, like the thief, gentleman thief sort of kind of vibe going about him, but at the end of the day like he's an idiot, and you know he's kind of like
He's doing it
Got
for
this
clicks, dude.
Yeah.
He's
He's
doing it
got
for
this-
views.
got the
He
sidekick
just
going
needs
with
to
him,
show La
and-
Brava, and he'll get the clicks that he wants. He'll get the views.
But I don't know, just for some reason like he's like so over the top and so ridiculous that it's like actually funny and entertaining for me, and like his power is actually really cool.
His power is cool.
Yes, the elasticity thing, yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of serves as a good kind of jumping stone or stepping stone for like Deku too, because like he is like going after him like on his own and like taking the initiative on his own.
It's essentially a
he- you
training
know,
arc.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's him training to use his long
Right.
distance shit.
Yeah.
That's the
And
whole
so-
arc.
Right, and it's cool for that. So I kind of appreciate that. At the same time, too, we've talked about it before. Like we're kind of getting highlights of the other characters, and so that kind of combined with this is pretty cool. I want to see like the performance, because I assume that Deku's gonna take care of business.
Make it back just in
He's
time.
gonna flick his fingers to fly forward.
He's gonna Naruto fly, arms behind back. I'm Naruto flying.
Beautiful.
I feel like the best representation of Mr. Criminal Man is when he's like, I'm gonna open this file, and then they show his finger, click click. It won't open. So, oh right, I locked it. Click that button there. It's just like that. Like epitomizes the character.
Yeah.
Like just.
He's just a
dumb.
boomer.
He's just a boomer. Like I
He doesn't know
can't-
how this technology works. He's
can't
trying to
do it.
become a
Yeah.
YouTube star, but he needs a zoomer to go help
he
him
needs
out.
a zoomer. And she's like, "Oh, sorry,
Zoom in.
sorry, I forgot you didn't
Hey,
know.
you know
Sorry,
what?
sorry."
He needs a zoomer to help out
Yeah.
so that he can shit on other zoomers at their high school party. Oh,
I like
man.
this last episode though. I thought it was cool.
Yeah?
I enjoy this arc. I think he's fun, and like I
Yeah,
don't know. It's not
he's-
as exciting, but it's a nice break from the intense.
Yeah, from the intensity. Yeah, I think I just think he's just so dumb,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah, he is really dumb.
it's
for
just
sure.
like it starts to get on my nerves. Like this episode got on my nerves a little bit, because it's just like, what? Like I don't understand your motives. Like you keep saying that you're doing this for like this sense of justice. Like I'm gonna expose
Mhm.
what's wrong with our society by sneaking into this Hero Academy's school festival and getting it canceled. Like I don't, it's just like dumb. And it's just like, are you really that like simple-minded? I guess.
Yeah,
I
I'm
guess he is
interested
just
to-
simple-minded.
Yes.
I'm
yes.
interested to hear like what actually he was trying to do, because what it just seems like he's trying to, like, at first it's like, oh, I'm trying to
He's
expose
like,
these
I'm a
companies.
badass. He's like, I'm a badass for sneaking into, the fucking school, but is that really cool?
No,
I
it's
feel like he
not.
was like he was trying to, at first he was like, I'm exposing these companies, and now he's like, fuck, no one's clicking into any of my videos. If I'm known as the dude that sneaks into the school and cancels that festival, people will click my videos. But then I don't know, he just seems
but
like
the
that guy that
people-
loses sight of his original goals.
Goal, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I don't know.
No.
It looks like it's gonna end in this arc's gonna end in the next
Gently
episode,
criminal.
and we'll probably get a happy conclusion to the school
Probably.
festival. Because
Yeah.
in the preview they show La Brava and Gentle Criminal lying in the grass and holding hands. So it's like, all right, well, you know, their ship has sailed, and like,
Yeah.
yeah, all right,
See you
move on.
later.
Later on.
I want to
But-
see the show. That's honestly, of all of this, that is what I'm looking forward to most, is like the show, because we keep seeing like really bad slow-mo dancing and like the disco ball going across. I kind of want to see how they actually animate.
Yeah, they
The
bring
whole
it
thing.
together.
Yeah, so it'll be cool.
It's gonna
For
be
sure.
a whole Haruhi level school festival.
Oh god.
Really bad CG.
It's gonna be KyoAni level shit where it's just like super guitar playing and like drum playing.
And they zoom on in one person's eye, and you're like, "Oh my god, I feel the emotions of the world."
Oh wow, yeah, it's gonna
Beautiful.
stick on Jiro's eye
Beautiful.
as she's singing, just like
Yeah.
right there.
Just right there.
Yeah, just
And you're
it'll
like, "Oh my
blink a
God."
couple times so that you know that your video isn't frozen.
Right.
It's not
It's not
paused.
frozen,
It's
yeah.
not buffering.
Oh, so it's gonna be like the what is it, the not the parakeet, but the from Goblin Slayer.
yeah, it'll be just like that. All right. Well, are there any other shows that you guys kind of wanna maybe give an update on? Like, I know Mark and I have been watching Smile Down the Runway,
I've been meaning
and
to
that's
watch
kind of
that.
become that's honestly become one of the shows that I've been looking forward to. I'm almost completely caught up with it, but I don't know. It pulled me in. Like I like the characters and I like this sort of story. So if you are into a sort of like underdog story and it's kind of sports anime-ish in the sense,
I mean,
because it's like,
underdog.
yeah, I said underdog.
Yeah, so the sports anime.
Yeah.
Boom, super.
Yeah, so it's sports anime in that sense, but if you're a fan of that kind of story and like want to cheer for the little guy, well, in this case,
Little girl.
little guy and little girl, I guess you could
Little
say,
people.
because the little people,
Beautiful people.
beautiful people. This show, it honestly surprised me. I didn't think I was gonna want to watch something about fashion, but here I am, very very invested
Cool.
in it.
It's like when I
It's
watched
cool.
the show about ballroom dancing. I was like, well, it's a sports anime. I'll watch it, and then it turned out really good. So
Yeah, sometimes these things surprise you, despite how the premise may put you off at start. Anything
I've
else,
been
you
watching
guys?
Darwin's Game.
Darwin's Game.
I'm still enjoying it. It's not like a masterpiece or anything, but if you like that, I don't know. It's like a survival show. The main character's overpowered because he's like a genius, but not a genius, and
No one really gets his ability, right?
and no one gets his ability. And he doesn't really get his ability. I think it'll be cool. I'm looking forward to the show because it seems like his power isn't quite what he's showing it to be, because like he can manifest anything he's seen.
It
but,
might be
like,
something else that maybe that's just a part of it.
That's what I'm thinking, because they like named it this episode as like the God of Iron or something like that, and so I think there will be more to it than he knows of right now, and then it'll become something super cool. But yeah, so he met the facilitator over the phone of the game, so it's interesting. Check it out. It's a fun watch.
All right, Drew, anything?
The one I continue to watch 22/7. I think it's very good for what it is. The only problem was episode 8 on the services that I normally watch on mysteriously disappeared. It went from 7 to 9, so I don't know if it has to do with coronavirus or the naming convention or numbering convention is off.
Seven was that was the one where they're in Sunshine City, right?
Oh God!
It was Genki Girls episode where
Genki.
she was in the hospital and all that.
Yeah, so that was 7, and then she was like running around doing like all the different
All the
shit,
stuff,
and
yeah.
then the one that I watched most recently, what was it? It was which girl was it? Oh, the one who wants to be a manga artist. She has like the kind of like long hair and she has the three sisters.
Hmm.
So I don't know if there's supposed to be one in between there.
Yeah, because the one after the hospital one was supposed to be I think the girl with the silver hair and the glasses.
Yeah, and I haven't seen that, and I
Yeah.
haven't been able to find that. So,
It's gone forever.
I don't think it really matters because it would have just been backstory for that character, and that character is kind of annoying and boring anyway. So
Maybe
I'm
that's
okay
why they
with
got
it.
rid of it. And they're like,
Delete.
don't air it.
Like,
This episode
we
sucks.
don't need this.
Delete
We
this
don't need-
episode now.
Oh no, we lost everything.
The character that I've been most interested in is Nicole. So I want them to
Yeah.
do Nicole's, and I think that's probably next because she would be the only one who hasn't gone yet. But they also left us with like a huge cliffhanger at the end of this week's episode. The wall says disband. So what's going to happen
Oh.
next? What's gonna happen? And you can totally see it was coming too because they've been like going for a year. They're rolling. They're like, oh, what's the wall gonna have us do next? And I'm like, it's gonna say disband, and then it rolls down, and the first girl stands up and reads it, and she's just like, ah. And then they're like, what's wrong? And then they all see it's like disband.
Yeah,
Like, dun,
because
dun,
as soon as the
dun.
band disbands, there's
Again.
all this publicity, and then they have a comeback tour, and it's huge.
The wall
Yeah.
knows. The wall knows. It's so smart.
It knows.
They can
So-
they
so
can
smart.
banishment this world though, dude. Oh.
Rika's gonna make an appearance.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Oh shit. The thing I'm interested in is with Walkun over there, like how do you Kabedon Walkun?
He can't copy Doan, but they can copy Doan
Yeah,
him.
but weren't they just like they're just touching him then?
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
he likes to be
touchy-feely.
abused.
Oh, okay.
I don't.
He just likes to get slammed. All right.
They brought him into the Onsen. He's living life.
Oh man. I'm interested to see how that show ends and
Yeah, me too.
and how everyone I guess thinks about it at the end of the season.
Mhm.
We'll see.
All right. We'll see.
Other than the opening song, because the opening song sucks. All the endings have been really good because they're like singles from the girls. The opening sucks. I hate that, but everything else has been really good.
Yeah, and then it's A1 Pictures and
Animation,
animation's
super.
good.
Top
They
tier.
did this. They did that for Idolmaster. You know, all of those separate endings.
Yep.
And then you can sort
This
of
week's ending was particularly good. It was like kind of like a mature theme because that's like how that character kind of is. I see her as like one of the most mature.
Mature.
Ones.
too mature
and it
for
would-
you.
That's true. No, but no, it was good.
Cool. Well, hopefully
Very cool.
you're able to see episode 8 before everything
Eventually.
happens. But yeah, Alec, are you still watching 22/7?
I'm
Or-
not caught up,
yeah.
but I've been watching. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just behind on a lot of stuff. so.
No, I get it. I've been really busy with work and all too.
Yep.
Well, I think that about wraps up this episode. So we're done with our beers. We're done with our discussions. So if you would like to find any of our content, we'll be updating our website, animeondraft.com, that has links to everything. You can join our Discord through our front page. There's a link there. There'll also be a link like in the podcast episode itself. So yeah, go join our Discord. We haven't really seen too much new members, too many new members, but it is fairly active with whoever's there. So our Twitter is Anime on Draft, or at Anime on Draft. Mark is heralding that. He's in Cabo San Lucas at the
Is that
moment.
where he's at right now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or is
So
he currently?
he might be en
sailing?
route somewhere else. No, he said he got off and he's in Cabo.
Oh, okay.
But he's
On to the
normally
next place.
normally heralding our Twitter, but I mean, no, we can answer in his absence. He's only
Mhm.
going to be gone for a week.
Mhm.
So hit us up there. You want to collaborate, do whatever, you can hit us up there. You can hit us up on our email, contact@animeondraft.com. That is also accessible on our website. Our Instagram is Anime on Draft Podcast, where we're posting pictures of anything we're drinking outside of the podcast as well as on the podcast. And then on any podcast service, you can just search for Anime on Draft. You'll generally find our information there. Our YouTube will have all of our VODs as well as on Twitch. That is Anime on Draft. Our Twitch is obviously twitch.tv/Anime on Draft. So go ahead and give us a follow there. Turn on notifications to be let know when we're streaming. Our normal schedule is supposed to be Mondays starting around 7 or 8 Pacific time, but this week we had to push again because, you know, life happens and we all got super busy. Alec wasn't feeling well too.
I slept for 14 hours.
So yeah, he got a good deal out of that. So you probably needed, your body was probably like, dude, you need to sleep.
The time change.
When I
Yeah, it
when
could
I
be the time
messaged in
change.
Discord, I woke up, was like, and then just went back to sleep.
Well, that's good. So yeah, if you have anything you wanted to contact us about, you have any questions, suggestions, if you want to have any topics to suggest, Alec, I know you mentioned that last week. If there's anything you want to see us do, maybe you want to meet up at a con or like whatever, like I mean something reasonable, or just any requests you want to be on the show, just contact us. Contact at animeondraft.com or hit us up on our Discord or on our website.
I think we were also thinking about the Pasadena Anime Con or the Torrance Anime Con potentially.
Most things are gonna get canceled, so
We'll see.
So we'll see what happens with those, but we were discussing them as options, so we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see if AX happens this year,
Yeah, we'll see.
and Comic-Con. We'll see. So,
Hopefully.
yeah. One last thing. If you like us, go ahead and give us a 5-star review. We will greatly appreciate it, and we may read your review on the podcast. So, if you want to be on the podcast,
In
but
spirit.
not in voice form, then you can send us your written review. But I think that wraps everything up for us this week. Do you guys have any last words, final thoughts?
Thanks for listening / watching / however you enjoy our content.
All right.
Cool.
Bye-bye.
Bye.